Yes. So Luke, so you guys start with this really traditional British background, which is wild to think where you ended. When did this ultra violent person? Where did you learn that style? Where did that come from for you?
That just sort of came. We still, when we were doing the Middle East, I had Butch on a collar and chain.
Yeah.
I'd lead him around, like, as I said, Sweet William and the Brute, and
Right.
and then it became crazy Nick Carter. And
what happened was they gave me the name of Nick Carter. They didn't have the crazy.
Right.
The first interview we did, and they had never seen us do an interview. I dropped down on the floor, I kicked my legs, and I went crazy on the floor. Well, Edward Carpentier, who was one of the bookers and that there, and a shareholder, he saw that and he fell in love with that gimmick straight away. So from that first night of TV, they put the crazy gimmick on me. But the trouble was with it, Nick, Luke would lead me out to the ring and I'd be going all crazy. And by the time I got to the ring, I was bloody near blowing up. And then we'd have to have the match because I'd be going through the chairs and making out, going through the people, and oh, mate, I never worked so bloody hard in all my life. But we had a lot of fun.
So you guys also, you two worked a lot in Puerto Rico as well, right before you got to WWE and then after WWE as well. I mean, it seems like you really made that a home. How crazy was it working in Puerto Rico? What was the fanship like? Yeah, I figured that would be.
It's real crazy, mate.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give it, for instance,
Okay.
before we did a lot of angles. The first one we did, we were brought in, and that we'd never been to Puerto Rico. This was 1980, and we'd never been to there before. And I think it was 80, yeah, around 80. And the promoter said, he was the Hulk Hogan of Puerto Rico and the Caribbean, Carlos Colon.
Sure.
His sons have been in WWE and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The storyline. And he said, I'm going to be, the show starts at 8:30. At 7:30, I'm going to be signing in the lobby. He says, you usually come in the back door, but this time I'm going to have people, your driver, pick you up and bring you to the front of the building. And you guys come in through the front. We had a flagpole, right? It wasn't copper. It was steam pipe. You ever know what steam pipe is?
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it had a knuckle in the middle where you could unscrew it because we carried it in a pouch. Each piece was about three feet long. So he said, I want you to come in the lobby and fucking burst through the people. Now, he was signing free photos. Carlos, on this night, everyone that came in and bought a ticket got a free photo. And he was signing there. We burst in there and that split the flagpole in and beat him to death. There was blood on the walls, everything. The ambulance came and took him. And they called for an ambulance and security come and got us off him. And we went to the back and that. We were the main event that night. This is our first night. The main event was Carlos Colon and the Invader. Yeah. Invader 1, who was the number 2 babyface on the island. And so Carlos was taken away in an ambulance. And that come the match, Invader come out and he says, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I'm going to do this on his own. They told him not to do it. And he says, I got to do it just because these pigs have come in here and they've done a disgraced our main guy and all that bloody shit.
Yeah.
So we started working with him. We started working with him in the ring. Finally, we got him down and we bloodied him up and that. And then all of a sudden, an ambulance pulled into the back of an arena, and out of the passenger seat, Carlos got out with a fucking axe handle and hit the ring. And hit the ring. The fucking people went mad. We took 1 or 2 shots, just a shot, and got out of Dodge, so we kept our heat. And that was our first time in Puerto Rico.
And it was all that wild and violent, yeah, Butch, yeah.
as you know, Mark, is a very, very, not Mark, sorry, Nick, as you know, very, very violent place. Most of our matches, big matches that they have, are in ballparks, and they don't have no ringside. Up in front of the whole of the stands are these huge big nets. So, because what they do, they get the cups, what they have their beer in or drinks in, they fill them with either stones or ice, pack them down, and
Or
they will
lime.
cut the
Or
wrestlers
lime.
in the ring. And that's how crazy they were. So they have to put this huge big net all the way up in front of the grandstands, huge grandstands. So, and they still lob them over the top and would get us now and again. But because they had no ringside, it's the only thing that saved our ass. Because many times when we were there, we had to fight our way to the ring. We had to have the match, which was blood and guts. And then we'd have to fight our way back out through the ring because the crowd would get there somehow. They'd have all these security guys around the ring with shields, batons, big face guards on them and everything. As soon as those Puerto Ricans got hot, they would say, "Get out of the way or we will kill you."
Oh my God.
And the guards would take a step back. And so we were theirs. So the only thing that saved Luke and I many times, as well as ourselves, was the boys would come out of the dressing room and help us to fight our way back to the dressing room.
It was
Time after time after time.
the worst part was going from the park under the dugout because they'd lean over and pound you just before you come to the dugout. They'd pound you. Anyhow, short story, Nick.
Sure.
Short story.
Go for it.
Bruiser Brody got killed in 88. God bless him. 33 years ago.
Right.
And a good friend. Frank was a good friend of ours. You know, he was a partner. We lived in San Antonio. I was a booker there, and Frank. We used Frank a lot because he lived about 25 miles out. He had a little spread there. Spread is a little farm. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Anyhow, when he died, the business went down. Oh, and this is WWC, Carlos's company, Capital Sports, and it came. They did one house where they got 12,000 people on an anniversary show where they did something big. So after we finished, we came with Vince. We came back as baby faces, and then we turned back for we came back in baby faces 2 weeks. We came in for 6 weeks before the big anniversary show.
Okay.
Right. For 6 weeks, and then we had 2 weeks off, and we had the show. Right. We came in as baby faces, turned to heels. We started working with the Invaders again, who we had history from way back. You know,
Sure.
We had at least 15 years history with them. Right, on and off, and we did a cage match with them in the 6 weeks in the end, and we crucified Jose. Jose is Invader 1. We tied him up with barbed wire on the side of the ring.
Oh my God.
You know, on the side of the ring, like a cross, and that was because it was gloves. We tied them up with barbed wire many times at different times for big shows.
Yeah.
And anyhow. We tied him up and, and crucified him on the cage and left him there bleeding. And then that was the thing. That was the setup for the big anniversary show. Come the anniversary show, it was an ambulance match or was something, boot camp match. I think it was a boot camp match. And all the big shows, they put seats on the lawn. They put, about 4,000, depends how many ringside tickets they sold. But these big shows, when times were good before Brody died, they'd draw between 22, 24,000, in the 20,000s, 25, 24. So they had ringside this time. And the match, we did a little thing. Carlos brought us back and we put the plan together. Because I'd been booking down there before for Carlos.
Yeah.
And so we put this whole program, Butch and me back, we come back and that. And this night, It was the Invader. It's supposed to be Invader 3 and Invader 1 against Butch and me, but they brought in Invader 2. You know, I forget his name. He's from New Jersey. He's Puerto Rican, but he lives in New Jersey.
Okay.
Anyhow, I got the heart punch at the end from Invader 1, right?
Right.
The referee went down for the count. Butch threw the flagpole to Invader 2, and Invader 2 whacked fucking Invader 1 over the back.
Oh my
and
God.
The fucking Riot. We showed the video the next day. We showed the video on television, Puerto Rico, the next day, and that showed us paying Invader 1 off a week beforehand in the gym. And that we showed a video. And that I still remember he didn't understand why we never showed the video before. Remember that, Butch? We said, the fucking, you idiot, we wouldn't have fucking done the thing. We wouldn't have got the ending. That's how dumb he was.
Wow.
Anyhow, now listen, I'm laid out. When you get the hard punch, you're carried to the back on a stretcher. When Invader 2, when Butch threw that flagpole to Invader 1 and he hit Invader, and Invader 2 hit Invader 1, the fucking crowd went nuts. Wow. They came out of the stands, everything. I had to go back to the fucking, on a stretch at the back, and Butch followed me on the stretch, and they had guards and all that around us. Now that was about 20 minutes to get me from the ring to the back. And now the next match, the people rioted. It was an hour and a half before the next match went to the ring.
Wow, because there was a riot going on, and so the show just
that footage caused a riot, and of course Invader and I put that together, Butch and me, and Invader 1 had a run with Invader 2 for about 3 or 4 months after that. I never made any money out of that. I should have. We should have, because we put that, but that's how. And the house was enormous. It was in the 20s again, which it hadn't been since Brody died.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
And that was our last.
A small island. A very small island, Nick.
Yeah.